We are here actually to celebrate what I have always thought of as a considerable sacrifice on the part of these students. They are, after 148 classes, 11 and a half months, over 900 hours of class time, and over 308 hours of practice and internship time, at a considerable sacrifice of their time and themselves and a considerable amount of hard work, graduates of the Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Let's give them a hand. Now, this does not happen unless you have backing, because as I said before, there's a great deal of work that goes into this. And much of the backing comes from family members, from friends, and from significant others. So I think there are probably a smattering of all of those in the audience tonight, and we'd like to give you a hand. If I may, for our audience members this evening, just let me describe the program a little bit, because it's 148 classes, as I said, but also I do believe it to be a considerable amount of demand on time. We are a vocational school. We train. We put these kids through a lot of rigorous activities. We howl at them, we hound them, we ride them, we try to get them up and running so that they are at a point in their professional development where they can go out into the world of media and sit in front of an employer and say, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. It does take, and they go to classes. They go to classes 3 days a week for 4 hours, and that is over 900 hours if you total all of that up. They are asked to do an additional 308 hours, which is come in here for 150 hours in practice, and then get an internship for 150 hours. There is a considerable amount of sacrifice and time to get this done, and the program, in my opinion, gets more difficult and a little more complicated and a little more technically involved as it goes on. And I always think these graduations are a great testament to stamina, because these students have actually given of themselves and their own self-discipline to get to the point where they qualify for a diploma from ICB. It's a considerable effort and a considerable piece of work that they have undertaken. It's not done easily, but with this class in mind, I can say it was done very well. And we look forward to working with these students. We look forward to helping them as they step out into what is also, as I think it has become, the more complicated world of media today. If any of you remember the old TV guides from 10,000 years ago, there used to be 3 networks and 5 radio stations, and you had no problem. You were done through it in about 30 seconds. Well, that ain't the case anymore. It's like an encyclopedia. You got to find this, you got to find that. It can run down an entire page or 2 with all the listings and all the programming and all the content. There's a considerable amount of media out there, both in television and in radio, in audio and video, and on the web. The web is an exploding arena for employment. There are any number of opportunities that these students have to step out there now, armed with the training they've got. And I would like to call up and have him discuss a moment the next step in their journey and bring up our Career Services Director, Don Clark, who will give some idea of what is going to happen next as far as their movement into the media world. Don, come on up.
It was embarrassing. I was kind of half listening. First of all, congratulations to everybody. I've had a chance to work with everybody in this class, really, and especially D, as we affectionately call him. He's this close to being a stalker. It's like, what part of 50 yards don't you get? Okay. Dave mentioned it, and we will all mention this as we go through tonight. And I was talking with Gil and Eddie for a little bit earlier tonight about this, about what everybody goes through. After I wrap up with you guys tonight, there's a class, a February Nights class that just started. That's over in the other building, so I'm going to go over and work with them for a little bit tonight. And it's funny, you guys have been through it, and you realize that that year went by like that. And now they're looking at it, and they're like, this is going to take forever. And it's like, no, it's actually going to go fairly quickly. And the nice thing is, you guys went from the end of the pack to the front of the pack, and the view is much better up here. That's one great thing about being the head mule. You always get a better view. So, congratulations again. I want to tell you a little bit about what they're going to be going through and the industry itself. And I came from kind of a broadcast family. My brother was in broadcasting before me. My father still thinks, well, my father's been gone for quite a while, but when he was alive, I really believe that he thought my brother and I got into broadcasting as an incredible ruse to meet women. He was right. But the other thing was, Bob and I were very, very focused on what we wanted to do, and when we started, we both started in a very small area. Mine was in a little town of Waupun, Wisconsin. And nobody really has ever heard of Waupun, Wisconsin, except for a bunch of prisoners. That's where they have the maximum security prison for the state of Wisconsin. But they have this little radio station there. And that's where I got my start. And while I was there, I ran into something, you guys will run into it, and luckily you've got us to keep you focused on it, but you actually have people that are saying, oh, you're not gonna, what, you think you're gonna be a big radio star? Is that what you think you're gonna be? And I'm like, yeah, as high as I can go. And I actually wanted, my big thing, when I was that young, when I first started out, I wanted to be on the air in New York. I didn't know how I was gonna do it. I didn't know who would have to pay off, but I wanted to do it. And eventually I found myself working at some smaller stations in Connecticut. And one of the stations that I worked at was actually part of a group that was in Hartford, Connecticut. But our station was up against this little mountain. It was a little shack, like a lean-to with a bathroom. That was it. But I was on the air one night, and I got a call from somebody who said that they had just wrapped up a party and they were really enjoying the music, and we really enjoy your station. I said, that's great. I got to ask you, where are you calling from? And he said, well, we just wrapped up a party. We live in Brooklyn. And I got done with the phone call, and I'm like, okay, I didn't make it yet, but that's a pretty good feeling. That's what you're going to be running into. You're going to be running into those feelings. I'm jealous. I mean, you guys are getting ready to start off with something that myself and Bill and Dave and Wendell and everybody here has already been through, and I would give my left arm to go back and do it again. We've tried to do real jobs. We can't. We've tried to do, I tried everything, and I can't do it. All I knew how to do was to walk into a room, put on some headphones, and talk silly for 4 hours. And at the end, they go, here's some money. And it's like, this has got to be the greatest job in the world. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Don. There is someone else I would like to introduce you to. He is the Director of Student Development and Outreach here at the school. He is a colleague of mine for a number of years, probably one of the most connected, networked people in Chicago and Chicago broadcasting that I have ever met, and a fellow whose sole effort and focus has been to work with our students and really help them get internships, really help them learn both sides of the business. He's been at it a long time. He has made a lot of students happy by connecting them to internships that became jobs. And so, if I may, I would like to bring up Bill Natale at the moment.
Thanks, Dave. I did reach out on Facebook, I think, to Jane. Yes, and So anyway, congrats to all the graduates. My background is as Emmy Award-winning producer-director for television, although I did work at 3 radio stations that you might recognize, WGN, WXRT, and I don't know if you'd recognize WSBC. Maybe that's a little too small, but they were all here in Chicago. And then for a few stations in outlying areas, Rockford, Illinois, and Woodstock, Illinois. So I had a taste of radio, and but mainly television. And I often say every station here in Chicago, except for one, I got a check from, and that was Channel 38. I started in the biz, so to say, at 14 when I went to a high school that had a TV department, and I just fell in love. That was it. I knew that that's what I was going to do. And like what Don said, and I think Dave repeated it a little bit or reiterated it, is you get it in your blood, broadcasting. And once you do, it's hard to do anything else. I was up in Milwaukee working for Channel 18, which is now an affiliate, but at that time was an independent. And I recall at one point thinking, I think I might get out of this business. And I actually took some real estate courses. I actually got my Wisconsin realtor license. And I tried it for about a week and a half and said, no, this is not, no. I didn't give up the broadcasting. I was just kind of doing this on the side. And I realized, no, this isn't me. This is not what I love doing. I love being in broadcasting. And I think you'll find that to be the case. Here's what I would suggest to you. And part of this is because I work in public affairs and outreach. I was at one point the campus director here for the first 3 years of the campus, and now I've moved into a different role for all of the campuses in terms of public affairs and outreach. What I would suggest to you is that in the course of your career, if you give back, let's put it that way, and make an effort to do something positive, that will have impact. That will come back to you. Real quick story. Mark Giangreco and I, both at NBC, this is before ABC, we got involved with, and maybe some of the students have heard this, but we got involved with helping a little girl, her family actually, get the funding for a liver transplant, which at the time was totally experimental, and insurance would not pay it. And we were able to, through Mark's obviously being on his on-air spots and getting them all through Illinois, and working out a deal with the Rockford Speedway, a market I worked in, Rockford, Illinois. Great market to work in, by the way. Small market, but nevertheless, great place to learn. And we got the proceeds from the Rockford Speedway. And also money came in. Again, this is all before, internet and even email, okay? So this is all via television, but television obviously at the time, very powerful medium, still is. And this money came in to the tune of about $80,000. And so it was enough to get the liver transplant. And of all the things I ever did, that's the one I remember the most. And that's the one, my last breath, I'll say, okay, Lord, hopefully you remember that one. Because, I have had a, not the name drop, but I've had an opportunity to work with some wonderful celebrated people like Coretta Scott King, and I've had a chance to work with Michael Jordan and actually do a video for him. And so I've had an opportunity to work with some really outstanding people. But it's the people that, just what I call the little people, and the stories that you do on behalf of them. And you have a lot of power. We're going to have, in about 2 weeks, and if you want to come back, please do. We're going to have a gentleman that was on WTTW a few nights ago, Anthony Sturdivant. I don't know if you've heard his story, but Anthony got tired of all the gun violence that was taking place, and all the shootings. So what did he do? He started creating videos that say, think before you shoot. And it's TBY4S, Think Before You Shoot, are his T-shirts. Well, those videos are having great impact in the community. And he's actually got some of the gang people to think about this. Before you shoot somebody, think about it. Think twice about it, because it's not only going to change their life, possibly end it, it's going to also change yours if you're the shooter. Someone who has actually been shot, I can relate to this stuff. I can say, okay, playing with guns or even accidental shootings or whatever, you know, that's not something anybody wants to go through. So you have power, and he's doing this all through videos on YouTube, using social media to get his message out, to the point where WTTW invited him in last week. Phil Ponce interviewed him, and now I guess he's going to get some national attention too. The Today Show is thinking of putting him on. But the point is, you have power in the tools, in what you learn. You know, Michael, I know you're a terrific editor. You know, you can do this stuff. I mean, you know, I could go through like Vanessa and talk about her stuff, and a number of you have really worked hard. But the point I'm trying to make to you is, you know, use that power, use it for good, and it will come back to you. It really will. And sometimes when you wind up helping somebody, you really wind up helping yourself. So keep that in mind. Take that with you. That's my word of advice. And again, I wish you the best, and know that, you know, even though you're leaving, you know, you got my email. I'll be more than willing to get an email from you and help you out any way I can. Okay? Thanks again.
Well, we also have this evening, and I would like to bring up Wendell Ray, our education coordinator, because Wendell is going to hand out some awards. We had some great achievers over here, and a couple who went out of their way in a couple of areas. So we would like to award these folks and make note of what it was that they did. So Wendell, it's all yours.
Thank you. Mr. Finney said I'm the education coordinator, so I get to spend a lot of time telling the graduates now, before they were graduates, you know, don't do this, do more of that, where's your form, where's this, where's that, you know, stop doing that, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I got a few announcements to make, yeah, you know, all of that. And a lot of times, you know, calling, where are you? Let me know you're okay, you're absent tonight, what's going on? Some of you may got some of those messages if I left them on your voicemail. But today we're going to celebrate your careers, and congratulations to you. All that, those announcements and that don't do this, do more of that, was so that we could ensure that you'd get to this day. And we're just happy and proud that it has come. But having said that, there are some individuals who we want to recognize tonight. And as I mentioned, and Mr. Finney mentioned, there are a number of benchmarks that individuals have to meet in order to get to this day. And we want to recognize one, or a couple students. One, for having perfect attendance, and that first student is Dedrian Colon. And, oh, he missed it, okay. Sorry. The other student we wanted to reach, and he's not here, well, for perfect attendance. He waited for the last moment not to be here, and that was Amir Hodari, who also was the winner of most studio hours for this class. You know, everyone has to have 308 hours. He was able to double that. He had 676 hours and also had perfect attendance. So, yeah, he's on his way. We know he's always late. But thank you very much, and congratulations to all of you.
And now we'll switch gears here and not just have all of the staff come up, but I'd like to have Vanessa Soto come up because she has a few words that she would like to say.
all, thank you everyone for coming, my parents, my daughter. And I would just like to thank all the staff who has helped me get my internship, Bill, everyone. I wouldn't be working for Univision at the moment if it wasn't for me getting my hustle on, and because it's not only about the staff trying to help you, you have to try to help yourself. And in order to get to where I'm at now, I had to sacrifice a lot of my time, a lot of spending time with my daughter, spending time at, I could have been doing a lot of things with my time, but I decided to go ahead and get my hustle on, and now I thank God that I'm working for a really great company. And I thank my classmates. I know I wasn't with you guys the whole time because of the fact that I got a job. I started as an intern at Univision, and I ended up that's where I ended up, getting a job. And I went from a morning class from November days to February nights, and I thank my classmates for being sweet, and I thank everyone for, just being nice to me and, welcoming me into your classroom without, more than halfway down through the year. Thank you. And one more thing. I would like to thank Megan, because without her, I wouldn't be up here. She financially, last minute, helped me through this. And without her, I wouldn't be up here graduating. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Vanessa. That was very nice. Thank you. They often ask, or I'm often asked, but I know many of the staff are often asked, just what do I do to become a success in the business? How do I become a great star, a great hit, a great something or other in media? And I've been asked that question enough to actually discover that I had a simple answer to it, which will probably have more resonance with the senior members out there than currently we might have in the audience. But I should start out this little tale by telling you that there actually was a time when I was young, and I weighed 165 pounds, and I was in the game of radio, and started out, and I was working at a pretty big radio station, and the thing that I learned, the truism that I learned about the game of hanging on to a job, is a simple phrase: just show up. Just show up. You just show up, and you will make your boss very happy, and your career will flower and blossom, and things very nice will happen to you. I tell you this very quickly, a little parable that you may take with you through your life trials. I, at 165 pounds and with hair, was I worked at a radio station, a rather large radio station, and there was a copy editor there at the time. They had copy editors, and he thought I couldn't write worth a damn. And he was always criticizing my stuff, as he was criticizing all the young copywriters. Sort of like a garrulous old me now, he thought he knew it all and had been through it all, and the rest of us young'uns didn't know nothing. So he announced he was going to have writers' seminars, and we should come to them, and all the young writers went, who cares, we don't have to go. And most of them didn't, but I decided that I would. And they were grueling sessions, because this old guy was tough and mean and smoked. Well, I won't describe him entirely to you, other than to say he smoked unfiltered Lucky Strikes and never had one off his lip. So he had yellow fingertips, and we will not go any further about what he looked like, but he really knew how to write and teach. And I went through his course, and it was pretty grueling, and it was me and another kid. But I remember my copy began to improve, and then one day I went home and I went to bed, and very early in the morning I had a shift, and I went in at 3 o'clock and I worked till 11 o'clock. But my shift, I was snuggled down. I'd been up the night before with the guys. Let's just say we'll leave it at that. And I was sound asleep when the phone rang, and the gnarly voice of the gnarly old copywriter said, "Kid, get in here." And I said, "What's the deal?" He said, "Look, I've been calling around. None of the other writers want to come in." He said, "This is your last call. This is a call. I'm moving on. Just get in here. You got 30 minutes." And he hung up. Oh, before he hung up, he said, "You got a TV?" I said, "Yeah, I got a TV." "Turn it on." Click. So I turned it on. And sadly, Senator Robert Kennedy was dying on the kitchen floor of a California hotel. He had just been shot. And I was stunned. I remember I jumped a bus, I jumped the subway, I ran, as a matter of fact, but I got myself in there. And lo and behold, I got assigned to write Senator Robert Kennedy's obit. It was an hour-long radio obituary. It was, because it was an obituary without commercials, it was full of actualities and sound of famous and not so famous people talking about him. You had to listen to tons and tons and tons of feeds and actualities that all sorts of people were sending in, and interviews they were doing with people, and ferret out through that 100 miles of tape that was sent in at the time just what it is you wanted to use in the show, and then write a script around it all. I got it done. It went on. As a matter of fact, the guy who read it went on to be an anchor at CBS News television. Read it, got done, got off the air, went home and fell asleep. The next day or two later, the crusty old guy came up to my desk and just flipped something on the desk, and it was a box. Now this will go back, because in this box, as I discovered, was a reel of tape, quarter-inch audio tape, which everything was recorded on the time. And I played it, and it dawned on me that what I was listening to was my documentary, an hour-long documentary. And this was a violation of tremendous violations, because there were copyright laws, and you couldn't give away the CBS property. It was, something CBS, all of us who worked there and cranked out work for CBS, it belonged to CBS. But this was a huge legal violation, and he just handed it to me. I took that thing and I cut that thing up into about 350,000 demos, and I sent them out across the country, and within 3 weeks, I had a job for double my salary in New York. So there was a going away party for me in a local watering hole, and lo and behold, the old guy shows up, garrulous, crusty. Turned out he could drink martinis like nobody, as well as smoke too, but we won't go into that. So toward the end of the party, I worked up enough courage, and I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, I want to thank you for this, but why, I don't remember saying this exactly, but I said something to the effect of, well, you and I never really got along. What the heck caused you to do this?" But I do remember his exact words from many decades ago. He looked me in the eye and he said, "I'll tell you why, kid, because you showed up." And he turned around and walked off. Never saw him again, never talked to him again, never said anything to him again. But that one thing that he did for me, which was the payoff to showing up, sprung me to a job that sprung me to a job that sprung me to a job that sprung me to a job. And from thence on, and I don't know if he had anything to do with this, I never had to submit a resume to anybody again. I just traveled the network, so the network of people that I met along the way. So I offer that up, and I will stop this preachy little moment here so we can get on with the evening. But I offer that up as the only actual thing I think I can tell you. And as I said before, I think it probably has resonance with all of us who've been out there and battered around a little bit. Just show up. Be there at the desk 15 minutes early. You have no idea what it will do for you. And now, my friends, we come to that point in the evening where someone better looking, more articulate, and sweetly scented than I comes forward and gives the diplomas. Vanessa Hernandez, would you care to come up here? I should also go on, having made those chauvinist remarks, and tell you that she is a member of the Education Department, a stalwart member that we all depend on, and she is here to hand out the diplomas, so we will begin.
Thanks, Dave. I do want to take a moment to bring up Amir Hodari, who, man of the hour. Amir, can you come up? Again, he is awarded for most studio lab hours and perfect attendance. go. Yes. Congratulations. Congratulations. Glad you made it. Yes. Megan Bustamante. Do you want me to take a picture? Congratulations. Steve Chalet. Congratulations, Steve. Deidrean Cologne. Congratulations. Congratulations. Amir Hodari. Congratulations again. Glad you made it. Thank you. Thank you. Ronnie Lester. Ronnie, congratulations. Congratulations. Your camera. Michael Leverett. Congrats, Michael. Congrats. Tracy Robinson. Congratulations, Miss Tracy. Congratulations. Sonia Rodriguez. Congratulations. Very well deserved. Congratulations. Vanessa Soto.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Here,
make
let me
sure.
help you.
Thank you.
Alberto Villanueva. Congratulations. Last but not least, Lawrence Walker. Congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Congratulations to the February Nights class.
Well, thank you all for coming. We will wheel in here the pizza buffet, and please stay and nibble with us and mingle and talk a little bit and enjoy yourselves. Congratulations, guys. It's a tremendous achievement. Did you want to say? But before we go,
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to the presentations that was given. I'm glad it was made that way because it sets up the presentation that I would like to make to two parties in our class. Imagine yourself being as old as I am out on the basketball court trying to play with the fellas. They don't want to be bothered. And as you get seasoned, that will happen often. They won't say anything, but you will feel it. And there are some people here who have made me feel welcome and well received and supported me during the course of this rigorous encounter. And I have a presentation for them. What's my name? Miss Sonia Rodriguez. Only words of encouragement. People don't have to be nice to you. They don't have to make things easy for you, but she did. And I really appreciated that. And this is for Mr. Lawrence Walker for being himself. A wonderful person. I wish I could be like you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all very much for coming. Hang on, we'll get the food in here, and please stay and join us. Thank you again.